All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of the Diggie VIII podcast. This is still season 3, but this is episode 8. It's still the new golden era, but now as you walk into my backdrop, we are going up to St. Clair, East 1999 in Cleveland, Ohio, which is home for Layzie, Krayzie, Bizzy, Flesh, and Wish, Bone Thugs, and Harmony, who are showcases for this particular episode. As you walk into, I'm so excited. It's one of my favorite groups of hip-hop of all time. And my special guest that I have with me today is not a stranger to the podcast. There are two, actually, these two gentlemen have combined probably in the top 5, maybe top 5% of our views in our channel. So they don't know that yet, but I'm telling them now. But so they are well liked by you guys. They are fan favorite, and they are doing a huge favor for me and the platform and for you all to pay homage to one of the greatest hip hop groups of all time, and that is Bone Thugs. But our special guest is 36 and motherfucking Brimstone in the building. What up, dudes? What's happening? Talk to the people, man. Let them know that you guys are in the building. What's happening?
What's going on, guys? 36 and Brimstone in the place. Yeah, we wouldn't miss something to pay homage to one of the greatest groups of all time.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, I mean,
absolutely not.
Shout out to Bone Thugs,
guys, man. So good to see you guys, man. And
good to see you too, as always. Oh yeah, I love seeing you. I love seeing you.
It's good to see you two assholes. Like, god damn it, Brady. I fucking love you guys, man. Hopefully everything's going good. Hopefully, things going well on your side of the house with the business and everything. So I'm so glad to have you guys
we're
back.
Grinding,
staying busy, man.
Still doing up with the music thing, and I thought you guys would be perfect for this episode. So our fans they love you guys. So they love 36 and Brim. So I wanted to bring you guys back for a particular with Bone Thugs and Harmony, paying homage to them. So with that in mind, let's go to the tail of the tape and let's go through the facts first, and then we'll get into the discussion. So our facts are Bone Thugs and Harmony from Cleveland, Ohio, 2 American Music Awards, 1 Grammy Award, 1 Soul Train Award, and they are the only hip-hop group to have a song with Tupac, Biggie, Eazy-E, and Big Pun. Like, that is unmatched. The only hip-hop group that can say they have done that while they were alive. And that's the other part I want to talk about too. While they were alive on Earth, they had their collaborations with them. So they're the only group that can brag about that.
That is one of the biggest flexes you could ever have.
Yeah, I know, right? So fucking crazy, man. But we're going to stay in the 90s with Creeping on the Come Up, as I was just explaining to me how it's pronounced.
Creeping on the Come Up.
June of 94. 4 times platinum. You got the intro, you got Mr. Ouija, you got Thuggish Ruggish Bone, you got For the Love of Money. Actually, it was really like an EP because it wasn't really that long. Maybe like 6.
It was just giving everybody a taste. I mean, it was just like this. These are the guys.
Going to be. Yeah. But it still went 4 times platinum. We're talking about a freaking EP. 4 times.
Thuggish Ruggish Bone itself is just.
That's impressive.
For the Love of the Money.
We played that out to death where I was from in Atlanta, man. Like we literally played that tape into the ground. So yeah.
Oh yeah, and you should.
That's crazy, bro. From the Midwest, and they were coast to coast. Like it was like you know what I'm saying. Like
definitely, man.
The Midwest has produced some of the hardest MCs out there, bro. Like it really has. Like that's a fact.
Oh, most definitely, man. And I definitely want to get you guys to take on this here in a second. A year later, they dropped East 1999 Internal in July of 95, which has the title song or title track, which is one of my favorite songs from them. Mr. Bill Collector, Bud Smokers Only, Crossroads, First of the Month, Buddha Lovers, Shots of the Double Glock, Crafting We Came. That's just the whole album is dope. 4 times platinum, and then of course their double disc was Art of War in July of 97. Which is a lot of music. One of the most standout tracks is Thug Love, which was a collaboration with the late great Tupac Shakur. And then there's some other singles too within the 90s. Days of Our Lives from the Set It Off soundtrack, and Everyday Thing, which is one of my favorite songs from Bone off of the Show soundtrack. And also included is a solo release from your big homie Flesh and Bone, which was titled Thugs, which was gold, which has one of my favorite songs. I think it's called North Coast. That was my shit, man. North Coast was my favorite songs off the album. But it went gold, and that is the premise for our discussion today, ladies and gentlemen. So let's dive into the discussion. And I wanted to choose a group, you guys, that is from the Midwest, because I am not from the Midwest. I'm originally from Atlanta, Georgia, as our audience knows, so I don't know of the significance of what Bone Thugs meant to the Midwest, and who else to talk about their significance than Brady and Mike of 36 and Brimstone to come on the show and talk to us about that. So that's going to be the first part of our discussion, gentlemen, is what does Bone Thugs mean to the Midwest?
Well, I mean, for what it's worth, they put Cleveland on the map. You know what I'm saying? Cleveland ain't got much going for it. I'm just joking. But I mean, like, yeah, I mean, and for what it's worth, and to go back to what, you know, we were originally saying before their first EP came out, they weren't getting much love from the Midwest. Yeah. They had to leave. They had to go to California because it wasn't working out for them. You know what I'm saying? And Midwest is great. You know, you got Detroit going and stuff like that. And I mean, I think Bone Thugs Harmony is synonymous with hip hop, you know, no matter what, but especially when it comes to Midwest rap. I mean, they paved the way for people like my brother here who like to chop. I mean, like, I wouldn't say they were the first people to meld R&B and hip hop together. I'd probably give that to De La Soul or somebody along that point. But they revolutionized so many. I mean, you can still feel the effects of what they did today. You know, Drake takes a lot from them. Guys that we like to listen to, Suicide Boys. Yeah, you hear a lot of Bone Thugs.
I think Bone Thugs and Harmony, strictly from an MC's perspective, I think they're one of the first ones to coin, not really coin, but really use a triplet flow effectively and use it melodically. And now you hear like what he just said, Suicide Boys and like them guys, like a lot of these new upcoming artists really rely heavy on that triplet flow with like undertone melodics, you know what I mean? And like layered melodics with it. And it creates this sound that they were doing years ago. Oh, yeah. But, you know, and because we had this conversation a while ago. I was like, man, who really started that triplet flow? And you're like, dude, I think Bone Thugs did. And I'm like, well, I'm going to look into it. And I can't find anything else that doesn't support that. You know what I mean?
But to go back to what you mean, I mean, not only is Jesus Christ, not only is Bone Thugs important for the Midwest, I mean, it's important for all of hip hop. I mean,
I agree.
I think they should have got way more Grammys than what they did. Yeah. I think they definitely caught it a little rough. They got the respect they deserved, but they deserved a lot more. And that's something that I'm always kind of like about. You know what I mean? Like Bone Thugs definitely didn't get what they should have gotten fully.
To your point, Mike, I think Bone Thugs at the peak of their career, so maybe when they dropped the Crossroads video, the Crossroads singles, which to me was at the height of their success. And I mean, literally, I don't know if you guys remember this in the mid '90s, but they were like everywhere. Like Crossroads was everywhere. Like they were, you couldn't like get anywhere without seeing anything about Bone Thugs. And that's the reason why they have an episode in this podcast for this season, because of their significance to hip hop during that late mid '90s. Like they were huge, man. They were everywhere.
The reason why I'm so passionate about them is my mom had all three of these albums. You know what I'm saying? Like, I heard these things every time we were cleaning the house, you know what I'm saying? Or something else. Like, I heard Bone Thugs every day, you know, like, along with everything else. So, yeah.
So let's talk about that. I want to talk about that, Mike. And you talked about the EP, East 1999, and then they got to the Art of War. Kind of like, did you see, or what is your take on this? Is there a progression from where they were from the EP to them going to the Art of War? Or was it just more of them being more mature, getting more into the industry, or with their style? Right. Did you see like a maturation process with them going into that last double disc?
There was definitely progression in some ways. One thing that I always thought was really interesting about Bone Thugs, even back in Creeping on a Come Up, was their production quality was amazing. That's probably because, you know, they were on Ruthless, you know, and Easy had the money for it. And shout out to Easy for finding these guys. Thank God that he took the time to sign these dudes and give us Bone Thugs and Harmony. Yeah. But yeah, I would say that by the time that the late 90s came around on Art of War, they were probably a little bit more pissed off, you know, because they were getting a lot of gruff from like, you know, cops in general and stuff like that. I've seen a lot of interviews where Wishbone's like, I can't walk down the street, dude, without, you know, having to worry about this stuff every single day. And that's definitely reflected in Art of War. I mean, like, listen to that CD, you know, listen to the song itself. I mean, you know, I mean, it's it's incredible. Yeah.
I mean, that is
to get to my point. Yeah, sure. You know, Bizzy was, he definitely started pronouncing his words a little bit better on the track, stuff like that, to where you can understand a little bit more of what he was going through. Their layers sounded a lot more full. I feel like they were definitely coming into, you know, men, what they were supposed to be and the message they wanted to give. Yeah. I mean, like, Teach the World is on there. If I could teach the world, I mean, that is,
dude, that's
that's something that, like, you know, they didn't necessarily do to the fullest before that. but they definitely went all for it on Art of War. And Art of War has my personal favorite song by them, which, I mean, it's Thug Love. Okay, I'm sorry. It's Thug Love. I think that's the best, Bone Thug song. What can I say? It didn't have to have Tupac on it. They were all going on. But the fact that it does is amazing.
Wow, he was alive, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Why Pac was alive on the earth?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
that beat's nuts.
it's crazy. Like who was? I mean, like I'm thinking, like who was the genius that thought of a shotgun to loop?
They got the Jason.
I mean, like it's just,
everything in that thing.
It's just crazy, man. Like and to put Pac on there, Pac. I mean, like to your point, like the track is fine with them, but Pac takes it to the
Then you put Pac in it.
Like,
you're
I mean,
like,
the Pac verse is just it's just crazy, man. But I want to talk about what's the elephant in the room with their music, and that's their dark undertones. So how do you guys feel about like? There were, theories going around like, Bone Thugs were like devil worshippers and they linked to real dark undertones and stuff like that. And they kind of dealt with the like, and not really like devilish talk, but they had some like backwards stuff and things like that. And when you hear like Creepy on the come up or like some backwards language and like, oh, this is kind of some weird shit, man. Like, what are you guys into? So I want to get you guys' opinion about that. Is it more of a gimmick or do you guys really think they were really into that kind of, belief in a sense?
I will say this, coming from like 36 and Brimstone, if 3-6 Brimstone, if nobody has picked that up yet, we're definitely on that darker, which you obviously know this, but we fuck with that. I don't care if it's a gimmick or if it's real. Like I'm with it because whatever they produced, it changed the culture forever. Yeah. Well, and regardless, but I do know this when people were accusing Tech Nine of being a devil worshiper, it was definitely. I mean, Chris Calico admitted to it in multiple interviews. Like he's selling it. Like you guys are buying it. He's selling it. So I think most likely it's probably a gimmick. If they did openly say it, I don't know. But I just know that like a lot of the times that stuff's a gimmick. But even if it's not, you know what I mean. Whatever's making their career work, you know what I'm saying. I can't hate on none of it.
I don't personally think that's the case. These guys grew up with nothing in the streets of Cleveland. I mean, like their whole life was darkness. They all had each other. It's for instance, like First of the Month. It's one of my favorite songs from them. I think it's a little overdone, but the reason why I love First of the Month so much is the whole point of it is First of the Month is when the food stamps come in. Yeah. That's when everybody's getting their thing going. That's how it was like for me too, and all my friends. I wasn't from Cleveland. I was from somewhere else, but First of the Month was a big deal. That's when you could finally go over to somebody's house and they had spaghetti that day. They didn't have ramen. You know what I mean? Like,
everybody good.
Eat, you know what I'm saying? Sure. And I feel like these guys, I mean, they probably had some dark overtones to them. Who knew what was going through their heads? Yeah. But I don't think they're devil worshippers or anything like that, especially if you listen to their other music they had. They definitely believed in some higher stuff. But I mean, like, they were appealing to this side of life that a lot of people don't necessarily understand unless you're from that walk of life.
Which it's ironic because most artists that get accused of that are actually really religious people. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's like most artists that get accused of that, but like it's something that's hard to understand and it's, I don't know, you really have to be in that, you know what I mean? To like try to understand why they sell that as a gimmick or why they even hint towards that. It's just something that like, I think people want to, have both sides of it. Like if you're really religious, you have to offer the other side unless you're a hypocrite. Like, and I truly believe that has something to do with it. Yeah. I mean, I think the devil worshiping stuff's kind of like when people get accused of that, some people might do it, but does it benefit them? I don't know. I don't think Bone Thugs did.
Yeah, to your point, Brady. And in this case, for Bone Thugs, it definitely benefited them. Whether they were into the Ouija boards or not, like the way.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I guess that is true. They did have some songs that kind of,
it was some darkness, but I mean, a lot of people like that. I mean,
look at Ghetto Boys, right?
Yeah, same
thing. I mean, like, Ghetto Boys was the epitome of darkness, especially at their day and time.
No question. And they're like the first horrorcore, right?
And they're all super religious right now, except for Bushwick. Peace out. Yeah, but they're all super religious, and I don't really think that I don't know. I can't really speak for the guys, but I don't really think that was the case.
Yeah, I mean, we're just here to talk about a topic. We don't. Right. I can't pick up the phone and call Bizzy. Hey, Bizzy, were you guys really on this?
Yeah, hey, like, dude, you're out here like, killing virgins and shit.
That's not. We're here to pay homage and let the world know about them, just in case anybody doesn't. But man, I mean, I'll tell you guys. To your point, like you mentioned earlier, Mike. I freaking love Bone Thugs. I grew up on Bone Thugs. Like, I remember just wearing out the East 1999 tape, Eternal. Like, I wore that tape out to death. Like, literally. I think when I got to Art of War, I felt like they kind of got a little bit commercialized, a little bit for me. They kind of lost the darkness. And then, you know, they never really got back to the winning formula once they transitioned into the 2000s.
They hooked up with Akon and
They did.
So hard. You know,
Yeah.
like, hey, that's a good song.
But the point being, they couldn't get back to what the formula was before, you know, to the height of where their success was. That's why I'm talking about them now. But not to say that they're not, you know, staples and pioneers in hip hop.
They're great.
There was no one. To me, there's no one that is ever going to sound like them. There was no one that is going to experiment as much as they did, and no one's. I mean, like, to me, Bone Thugs and Harmony is in a class by itself. I don't see anybody ever rapping like them, harmonizing like them. We've never seen it in hip hop, and we have not seen it since. We've seen a lot of people try to emulate it, but to do it the way they did it, with the harmonies and the rhymes, and to your point, Brady, how they start to, okay, man, we're talking a little bit too fast. Let's slow down a little bit and let the actual messaging start to come out and stuff like that. So I think it's dope, man. And I remember, what do you guys think about the Crossroads video? So remember the music video for the Crossroads and how they were playing Homage to Eazy-E, and, you know, with the guy with who kind of was like the Grim Reaper, but then he comes out with the wings and like that kind of imagery. Like, I just want to get you guys' opinion about that. Is that you know, is that art, or, you know, like, what are your thoughts about that, Mike?
Oh yeah, it's art for sure. I mean, they got Easy in there. They also made a song for their friend that got killed during his graveyard shift. Drive-by or something like that happened. And I mean, it was just a reflection about like all the friends they lost, and like, man, we hope you see you again. You know what I mean? Like, whenever we're done, you know, we're gonna be right there with you and stuff like that. I personally, I listened to a lot of Bone Thugs, but I never really got into Crossroads until something happened. One of my buddy's sisters died, and one of her favorite songs is Crossroad, and they played it at her funeral, and his whole family and everybody else was crying. And at that one moment, I understood what Crossroads was, and I got a lot more of a respect for that song. But the video itself has Easy in it. You know, it shows just a lot of just horrible things happening. But yeah, of course,
I haven't seen the video. I really want to. I really want to. I just
it's definitely all good. Like, it's I remember, you know, watching the music video. So for those of you that have not seen the video, go back and check it out when you got some time. It's a really dope video, and that's what earned them their Grammy, by the way, too, ladies and gentlemen. So they got the Grammy because of that single. So rightfully so. I mean, the song is dope. Oh shoot, you guys bounced on me. All right, you back? Okay.
Yeah, here we are.
Yeah, the song is dope. The album is dope, and so to kind of wrap up our conversation, gentlemen. First of all, once again, thank you guys again for spending time out of your busy schedule. You're a fan favorite.
We'll always make time for you.
Ask me about you guys.
Always make time for Rob, baby. That's our motto.
I gotta tell you, man. So what's your final thoughts? Like, what do you think about Bone Thugs and their legacy to hip hop?
Well, let me start off with something. I know he's got his ideas about it, but I need to come forth with this. One thing that I think Bone Thugs did a lot, and I'm going to refer to my notes real quick because I kind of have this wrote out as soon as I found out what was going on with this. If I could teach the world, is kind of at the heart of this. Because like what I said before with First of the Month, I reflected a lot with that song, and a lot of people that I knew did, and we didn't walk the same life that they did, but like we relate to it. And I think a message that Bone Thugs wanted to give off a lot is like, we're not so much different. You know, there's so much division, especially these days. But if you sit down with some of these people that you think that you hate, you would be surprised at what you have in common with them. You know, and they wanted unity back then. They wanted unity in a big way. You know, they were all the things that are these big issues right now. Bone Thugs, Pac, everybody back then was talking about this stuff. This isn't something that's new, guys. You know, this isn't something that just came out of nowhere. And Bone Thugs definitely at the front of that, man. Like, if I could teach the world, is a big representation of that, of them basically saying, like, if you could be a thug like me, then we would all live in peace, you know, like, and that is beautiful. I love the message they sent forth. Most of my favorite songs from Bone Thug, of course, is, you know, Thug Love and stuff like that. I love that gritty gangster shit, but I love that message too, because it's real and it's genuine, and it's something that even me, someone who is pretty far away from who they are, I can relate to that and I can respect it so much. That's why I have so much love for Bone Thugs and Harmony.
No doubt, man. No doubt. Very well articulated, sir. Brady, what do you think, man? Final thoughts, brother.
I mean, here's the thing. Nobody was really chopping before Bone Thugs. Nobody. I mean, you can talk about KRS-One. You could throw out guys, but they weren't ripping 16-bar verses at double time, triplets, and then all of them harmonies. You know every single one of them.
Yeah.
They like you said earlier, it goes back to your point. There's not going to be another one that does it. Because for one, in this industry now, you know, in this day and age in this industry, you can't get 5 people to get along with each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And let alone like going that hard on each song. It's like one person wants to go hard, egos get in the way at some point. That's why it's impressive. And that's why like a lot of bands are impressive, but especially in rap. Because egos are the biggest thing in rap.
Absolutely.
Like the biggest thing. And to get 5 that are going that hard all the time and to make their egos mesh, and I'm sure there was issues behind closed doors.
It helped that 3 of them are blood related.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Actually,
But yeah, I mean,
they are blood related. I want to say a few more. So Flesh is the older brother of Layzie, and he's the cousin of Wish. So they have a little bit of family affair in there, but you know, some would argue the point, Brady, where, you know, I did an episode 2 of this season was about Twista, you know, which is another trend center of the chopper style of rap or the fast pace. So maybe he might be the godfather. I don't know. I'm not from the Midwest, but I know that Bone Thugs did it, but it did their way.
But Bone Thugs is the first one I heard, and I'm pretty sure it's the same thing for.
I think that's the case. I don't know when. It would all go back to like, okay, when did Twista first come out? When did he first get popular? Whatever you want to go by.
Right.
But the first ones, I guess the first one I heard was Twista. But like looking back on history, like he said, most people are like, yeah, it's Bone Thugs. I wouldn't say they're the king of chopping around here now that all these other ones, but I think they pioneered and they set the stage for a lot of these other dudes like Twista.
They definitely drove it to the mainstream.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't have if it would have been like, you know, because you see other choppers that have had all of these problems. Like people like, oh, you're rapping too fast, blah, blah. Nobody cared if they understood Bone Thugs. Nobody cared. They're like, oh, you're doing these harmonies? Like, it literally sounds like this beautiful singing. And it's just like, you know what I mean? And it's harmony.
Bizzy out there doing work.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it's really crazy. And then the octaves, each of them have their own like octave, like their own key, like their own way. You know what I'm saying? Like I think it's an impossibility to say that there'll be another one that does that. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's almost an impossibility to say that. That is
I
so
would
rare.
Agree. I don't think
Sorry, Rob.
To both of you guys' point, to have 5 guys, you know, to stay together, to stay on the course, and you know, as history progressed on, they couldn't stay together, and they kind of fell apart. They come back together. But yeah, to your point, you know, in hip hop, it's so competitive. Well, why is he getting this cut and why am I not? You know, it's just that competition thing kind of gets into place. But man, I'll tell you guys, you know, what Bone did is not going to be duplicated. I don't care who comes up with it. I wish that we had. You know what I missed though? To you guys' point is the about this time period in hip hop that we're talking about in particular, 95 to 99. And we'll say this again next week because next week we're featuring Busta Rhymes, which is another chopping fast style dude that really picked up and knows how to pivot and switch and stuff like that. But yeah, I can't wait to get to
Very
that.
nice.
Man. That's going to be dope. But my point being is there's got to be originality. There's got to be like creativity in hip hop, and Bone Thugs was definitely original. They were creative and they did it their way and they didn't compromise.
It would still work today.
It still works. The formula still works, man. So, man, that's all the time that we have, you guys. So let's start wrapping things up. So, as you all know, in season 3, we have been wrapping things up and paying homage to the memory of George Floyd. So, a couple of updates on George Floyd's case. Derek Chauvin was convicted for George Floyd's death, so that's a win for everybody.
Get him out of here.
Yeah, and I don't know what the verdict will be in regards to his sentencing. It's going to be, I think it's 7 or 8 weeks from now, but that is a small win for us. And yeah, so we're going to pay homage to George Floyd real quick with a 9-second bow your head moment of silence, and we're getting to the shout out portion here. So, gentlemen, if you could join me in a moment of silence real quick. Amen. Let that brother's soul rest in peace, and rest in peace to all the other ones that we have lost due to social injustice, and it just needs to stop. And also a quick shout out to Shot.
Just the beginning.
And shout out to Shock G real quick. Another hip hop pioneer that we lost 3 weeks in a row. Come on, 2021. Come on now. Let's stop this now. We lost X.
Hasn't been counted.
We lost Black Rob, and now we're losing Shock G from Digital Underground. Like, come on, 2021. We got to slow down. Losing our legends here, man. So we got to slow this pace down. But gentlemen, the floor is yours. This is your third appearance on the platform. Second time, first appearance for this season. The first time we saw you guys paying homage to Cypress Hill, which was dope, got mad crazy views, and I got the chance to interview you guys one-on-one on the series for your label mates, and now we were paying homage to the great Bone Thug. So this go around, who are your shout-outs going to? The floor is yours, gentlemen.
Go first, brother.
First and foremost, I want to give a shout out to you. Thank you for us being the people that you want to bring on for this specific one. I have mad respect for Bone Thugs. You know, they're engraved in my childhood all the way up to current day. I love those guys. Shout out to rap. Shout out to shout out to the
Just
current,
generalize it all. Shout out rap.
the current climate of what's happening with the social injustice. It's just the beginning. This isn't it, and I'm totally 100% down for it, man. I watched the live stream of that dude getting what he deserved, and I'm glad that it happened. And to everybody else that's rocking with us, thank you. Shout outs to you also.
Yeah, for sure. Shout out to you, Rob. Shout out to you, as always.
Love y'all, man.
We have something very special to show you after this, actually.
Okay.
It's very special. You're going to love it.
Okay.
But shout out to everybody that's rocking with us. Shout out to Rap. Shout out to Young Matt, as always. Shout out to No Face, our producer.
DB Entertainment.
DB Entertainment.
We had a photo shoot with them earlier.
Yeah, man, for sure. Chevin. All you guys, that's what's up, man. Shout out to everybody rocking with us. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah, my same. I have short shout outs as well. Shout out to you guys, of course. As always, I'm always a fan. Always watch from the shout out what you guys are doing, following your career, watching you guys starting to blow up. And the stratosphere is the sky's the limit for you guys. So thank you guys. Shout out to DB Entertainment. Shout out to Dion Brown. Shout out to the Queen Jess. As always, I can't make moves without the Queen.
I forgot the Queen.
Sorry,
Shout out
Jess.
to the Queen.
Can't forget about the Queen. Can't forget about the Queen. Shout out to you and others as well too. Hope they're doing well and staying healthy throughout this pandemic and everything. And all that, that's all that I got for this week. Next week, as I mentioned, I know I kind of did like a little snippet, but we're doing Busta Rhymes next week. One of my favorite MCs is Busta Rhymes, so I can't wait to
let's get it busted.
Yeah.
And then
he's trending on TikTok right
north. Yeah, it's gonna be dope, man. I can't wait, man. So first and foremost, shout out to hip hop music, hip hop culture. We'll see you guys next week. Be safe, stay easy, all right? 100. Peace.